What's going on, people? It's your man the YB back again. You best believe it. Off the rip. Big shout out to my doggy Alex O for boosting up his camera resolution right now. Came through the big sponsorship, $100 sponsorship. Big salute, General, 100%. So we got some breaking news right now regarding your man's George Kambosos. George Kambosos, yeah? But ferocious. Kambosos is what you are. Listen, let me tell you something now, George, before we go on to your update, yeah? Yeah, let me tell you this now, Mr. Kambosos. There was nothing ferocious about what you did in there with Dev. Yeah, it was, but don't get me wrong. You know what, I've been too harsh on Mr. George. Mr. George, he right. There was something ocious about his performance, and it was bum in front of it. There was nothing fair about it. Pure bumocious performance. George Bumocious. Kambosos, 100%. Anyway, let's get on to the news update regarding your man's George Kambosos. George Kambosos, 100%. Check this out. So, boxing scene have leaked the conversation around George Kambosos' rematch clause. It says, Kambosos activates rematch clause. I know I can beat Devin Haney. It goes on, in quotes, yes, the rematch is happening, 100%. I have activated the rematch clause, Kambosos told News Corp. The Emperor is dead, but Kambosos is still alive. But Kambosos is still alive, and I will be back. We haven't finalised a venue. There's options for Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. It will be in Australia, which is great. I know I can win a rematch. I will make some changes, and this is my destiny to show how great I am and get those belts back. I know I can beat Haney. My confidence hasn't been broken. On the day, Kambosos wasn't at his best. I was just off a touch, but no excuses. He did what he had to do with his jab. He is a smart operator, but I have to be smarter at my game plan next time. I am blessed to get the shot again, and not many Australian boxers can say they've had 3 world title fights in a row. I shocked Lopez to win the belts. I lost them to Haney, but now I will be looking on a game plan to get the belts back. I have the eye of the tiger again. Kambosos also shot back at the critics who believe that his local popularity falls short of Tim Tszyu. I am still the biggest name in Aussie boxing. Tim can barely get crowds to his fights in Australia. The last time I checked, when did Tim Tszyu fight in front of 41,000 fans in a packed stadium? He can barely get 10k to his fights. It's small time, different stuff. Anyway, I'm not going to get... You know what? Listen. I ain't going to get... I'm not even going to go any deeper into that Mr. Kambosos'. Yeah, Mr. George Kambosos. I ain't going to get into more of his delusions. Arguing about what Costa Zoo's son or whatever. Tim Tszyu. And this problem you see with fighters today. These times, yeah, fighters are more interested in all the stuff they ain't supposed to be interested in. Oh, I've got 51 fans. I'll tell you what you want to do, Mr. Kambosos. Yeah? Never mind how many you got. Why don't you turn up for them? Why don't you do the things you're supposed to do for them? Yeah? But again, like I said, in this day and age, in 2022, it's more about, oh man, you know, I got the bag, and I got 41,000 fans, and, you know, I got the Louis watch, I got the Louis belt, and I got the Gucci shirt. That's what it's about, yeah? Mr. Kambosos spent more time focusing on, I've got more fans than you. Yeah, but when you was in front of the fans, George, what did you do? Oops, yeah? You got in there and you flapped. Your arse was like... 100%. Listen, Mr. Kambosos' arse was going... Imagine this, ring piece, yeah? That's a ring piece. His butt was doing that, 100%. Just flicking his ring piece. That's what he was doing in there, in front of Dev. And then afterwards you want to talk about, oh, but I got more fans. Who cares? You sucked in front of your fans. You rolled over and got your belly tickled in front of your fans. Yeah? So you may as well, the worst thing is, yeah, you're sitting there saying you got more fans. You might as well have had less fans. You thought as if it was a small hall show. Oops. Yeah? The whole point of having a whole bunch of fans, and the fact that George actually acknowledged that. George said, oh, there's no way I'm going to lose. I'm going to go and die there in front of my fans. I'm not going to be soft like other people. Oops. Yeah, you was exactly like other people. You did exactly what they all do. Barmello, all the big guys, Anthony Johnston, all the big guys who have stadium fights. They go in there and they roll over and give nothing back to the fans. Yeah, they go in there to play touch butt, and then afterwards they say things like, oh, but I'm still rich, and they throw it back in the fans' face. We make them rich, and they remind us of how rich they are. Oh, it doesn't matter if I lost, I'm still rich, all that type shit. Yeah, and that sums it up, and that's why, in a way, I'm glad I didn't give George no credit. Going into the Haney fight, I told people Haney gonna box his ear off, and some dons were like, oh, YB, you said this, you said that. Listen, I'm glad I said that. I'm glad I mugged off Kambosos now, because all this, everyone gave Kambosos way too much credit. Oh, he's a warrior. Oh, no, warrior's easy to say when someone's running at you with their chin in the air and their hands down like Tuicafimo Lopez was. We can all look really hard then, can't we? Lopez was running in with no skill, and it made Kambosos look the goods, look the business. And even then he went life and death and got another third time consecutive split decision. He couldn't even school, really, as a counterpuncher, which George allegedly is, yeah. Counterpunchers love people running in recklessly. But yet, still, George went life and death with him. Do you understand? That should have been really a 9-3 fight for Kambosos, because Tuicafimo Lopez was running in with no regard. If he was a real counterpuncher like he make out he was, it should have been a schooling. Yeah? Oops. It wasn't a schooling, it was a life and death in. And actually, Tuicafimo came on strong in the end and nearly won the fight, to be quite frank. But anyway, put it to one side. But one other thing I want to pick up on. George says, I'm gonna come back hard against Devin, and I was only, like, one of the key quotes here that got me pissed off was, I was only a touch off. When I read that, I thought, a touch off. And this again is what I said a second ago. I'm not indulging no more of Kambosos' delusions. Before the fight, people was telling me, YB, he was a warrior against Lopez, and he's the undisputed champ, and he did it in Teofimo's backyard, and on that basis, I was supposed to embrace, Kambosos is a warrior, YB. Yeah, and I didn't feel, I think even before the fight, I didn't even really call him Kambosos for that reason. But I knew it, I felt something off about the guy. He was just a little bit too gassed. Yeah, a little bit, not gassed in a good way. He's the kind of gassed, exactly how I thought it would go. The ones where you talk, like, listen, I'll be the first one to say, I love people, yeah, who talk and then go in there. Not necessarily win, but talk, go in there and put it all out there. I had no problem with Kambosos sounding delusional, yeah, if he uses that to get into the ring and perform delusionally. He could have got in there and said, you know what, I'm completely delusional, I'm completely gassed off myself, let me just start letting rip now, just start swinging and charging forward, because I'm delusional, and I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, innit? That's what someone who truly believes they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, they say F it. But what I don't rate is when cats like George act delusional, yeah, act like they're full of themselves, get in the ring and sit back and play touch butt in the park with Ido Portal. It's like, which is it? Are you the greatest warrior of all time, but you can't get stuck in against a man who you say has no power? Devin, no power having Haney? Oops, yeah? Why weren't you wading forward about, Devin didn't want to come and fight? As far as I'm concerned, you had 2 arms and 2 legs. Why don't you just start exploding forward, Mike Tyson style, or even worse than Mike Tyson? If it comes to it, and you put your hands down and walk forward. Oops, you're the one who talked about warrior. You're the one who talked about 50,000 fans and what you was going to do. I'm prepared to die out there. Yeah, I'm not being funny, but putting your hands down and walking forward, that wouldn't necessarily mean you'd die, would it? That would be a lot less than dying, wouldn't it? Yeah? If I had a choice between certain death and putting my hands down and walking forward, I'd take the walk, put my hands down and walking forward. That's not, I mean, at worst, you're going to get a few bruises 9 times out of 10, or 99 times out of 100. So it's like, before the fight, you're woofing about going to war and prepared to die. In the fight, Devin wouldn't put his hands down and put his chin in the air and just start running forward like Teofimo did. That's what Kambosos basically said. Oh, Devin, why aren't you running forward into me like Teofimo did all night? Complaining, have an ass. When you knew, Kambosos knew what Devin was going to do. He said, I've got the answers. I'm the warrior. Yeah, Devin's running around, ain't going to be able to stop the warrior I'm bringing. Then after the fight, I was a touch short. No, you was miles short, Kambosos. Yeah, honestly, on the scale of what you talked about being and what you was, genuinely, you was a 1 or a 2, in my opinion, out of 10. If 10 was what he was talking, he was a 2. Bottom line, because you weren't prepared to die out there, and you weren't even prepared to really win. You was prepared to go out there, and if Devin Haney had to come out like Teofimo did, I'm under no illusions, you probably would have been able to nick another win. But that's not really a strategy, is it? You can't have a strategy based on someone having their word. I mean, I said before the fight, that's one thing I'm proud of. I'm proud, that before the Haney vs Kambosos fight, I actually said that was Teofimo's. That was the worst version of Teofimo, hands down. I don't believe we'll ever see a Teofimo as bad as that. And George went life and death with him. That is one thing I did say on the record. Yeah? And when it really came to it, people, George, you've been complaining, I've been fighting away from home all this time. You was at home, 50,000 fans, and you fought like it was your debut or something. You fought like there was nothing on the line. You didn't care about the belts. You didn't care about your fans. You didn't care about nothing. You cared about self-preservation, like most 2022 fighters. You turned up to lose easy. You turned up and thought, if I can fiddle around and win, I'll win. If that don't work, if game plan 1 don't work, I'll just lose and then make excuses. That's exactly what you did. Devin didn't want to stand there and put his chin in the air. That's basically what Kambosos said. Devin, what I mean? Where are they finding these guys at? Before the fight, we all knew what Dev was going to do. And you said, we got things for that. That's what training camp's for. I've seen all of his things in sparring already. I know everything he can do. After the fight, sounding stupid, have an ass. Yeah, and I'm annoyed that he's even allowed a rematch clause, to be honest. That performance, I believe, regardless of, I know private contracts can say what they want in them, but still, for me, sport and the way it's going, especially boxing, there needs to be some fan input, because I'm not someone who, a lot of people say, I'm against rematch clauses, full stop. I'm not. Certain fights need rematch clauses. But this one, forget about it. I just don't see it at all. Yeah? George had his shot. It's not even as if, fair enough, for example, for me, Teofimo versus Lomachenko, that needed a rematch. Why? Lomachenko showed in the last 5 rounds, he won pretty much all of them, coming on super strong, which that creates a narrative for the next fight. The narrative for the next fight would have been, or was, or is, Teofimo versus Loma, the rematch, and if Lomachenko can start how he finished, he's probably going to win the fight. Do you understand? Where's the Haney versus Kambosos narrative? What did Kambosos do? He went in there and stood there, looked like he's a fish out of water. He looked like he was going through it, down all the way bad. It's like, at what point were you going to show any of the things you're woofed about? Oops, yeah? Big goober sounding ass, dude. So I get this guy out of here, man, bottom line. And I guess, in a way, the only thing I can really ask for at this point would be, they best get this on rapido. I'm talking about, if this fight could be in August, great. Because Dev didn't take no damage, really. Kambosos took more damage, but he ain't busted up. Get this fight on in August ASAP. Because to be honest, these guys aren't fighting more than 2 months anyway. These guys aren't fighting more than once every 6 months anyway. So in my opinion, at least they'll be active. If Dev fighting Kambosos in August is fine for me. But it's boxing. So I'm telling you now, if this gets strung out until, God forbid, December, 6 months, oh my, that's bad. That can't happen. Please, Dev, if I was Team Dev now, for your career's sake and for boxing's sake, push this rematch ASAP. Yeah? I mean, I'm being funny. There's no reason it can't be. I know it won't be, but July. I mean, if I was them, I'd aim for July. I know, but certainly August. Don't let this drag out. Drag out for what? Get this bum out of here, man. Bottom line, get this bum out of here. Yeah, and it does piss me off that Kambosos has been able to set his whole life up now. He will have allegedly made $20 million. I mean, Kambosos had one half decent fight against Tuikafimo Lopez, and that turns him into a $20 million man. There's something wrong with this whole game. I'm sorry. Off of one half decent fight, you shouldn't be able to make 20 million and then do nothing in doing so. Like I said, fair enough, yeah, if Kambosos, I'm not a pocket watcher. If Kambosos had come out, yeah, give it a valiant effort, and did the things he was selling he was going to do, let's not also forget that. This isn't a case of where YB, you expected something that he wasn't talking about. That sometimes happens, when you know a fight is a certain way, and you hope he'll find something magic within him. This wasn't one of them ones. George was selling it. He was telling us what he was gonna do. Don't worry about Haney boring style. I'm coming to get it. Yeah? He can't stop the train. Well, he can't stop this big Aussie train coming. Oops. Yeah? Nowhere to be found. Get this dusty guy out of here, man. Bottom line. I'd love for Devin Haney. And that's one thing I will say about Haney, yeah. Haney and his dad need to prep. This, in my opinion. They need to prepare to knock this guy out this time. And that's one thing I've got to say. Well, that's the only bit of intrigue for me. The only intriguing bit of the storyline for this, yeah, is can Haney up his level again? Okay, you've got the belts now. You know the judges aren't, well, you're comfortable now is my point. Yeah? You've got the base. You're the champion now. If I was you and you're thinking about legacy, there's no reason. I mean, you've been in there with the guy as well now. So you've got the information advantage. You were able to get off all the things you want to get off. And also, Haney would have learnt more about Kambosos. You can only train for someone so much. Now you've been in there with him, you've got all that data. My whole thing is now, the part that makes this interesting at any level for me, is Haney should go in there with the game plan to stop Kambosos. That's how this can be good for both men, or good for Haney. Equally, to be honest, but if I was training, Kambosos should be saying, okay, this is my cash out fight, let me go all in. And that's how I feel. If you're going to get paid life-changing money, yeah, you should deliver life-changing performances. No? Is that not fair enough? I don't know, but that's how I feel. Odds are, to be honest, I'd love for Haney to go in there and get stuck in, but most likely, Haney going to go in there and do what he normally does, which is fine, but I want a bit more. I want true greatness. That's why I struggled to call Floyd great. Floyd never put the hammer down. He never went the extra mile. Yeah? I'd love, and Devin's young enough, why not? What's your excuse? Floyd blamed his hands. Yeah? Especially against, fair enough, yeah. I mean, if Haney was to rematch Tank, then yeah, just to stay alive kind of thing. But Kambosos, he ain't got no power. He ain't no power have an ass. Go in there and smoke the dude. Show how strong you really are. And the same for Kambosos. Yeah, Kambosos said, Haney's chinny. Go and clip that chin then. No? Oops. 100%. But yeah, let's see. Let's see. Team Haney, get this on for, I'm talking September latest. We don't want to see no, God forbid, November, December. No. Hold all the division up for this bum fight. Get this bum out. Knock this bum out in September latest, 100%, no doubt.